Welcome to Behind the Love, where we discuss what just went down on the latest episode of Unconditional Love.
I went to China in hopes of finding myself, and instead I got the opposite. I'm embarrassed, hurt, and I have nowhere to go.
So we discussed this in the writer's room, and Tasha was difficult because we wanted to take her so many different directions, and the conclusion we came to was Tasha comes back to nothing.
And this is normal for Tasha, because if you've known Tasha since the first season, Tasha seems to misstep a lot, and she figured going to China would be a change for her, and it wasn't a change for her. And we kind of wanted to explore this idea of you get knocked back 10 steps when you try to take one forward. And that's always been her thing, this entire series, and even more so in this season. And it'll be fun to explore her going through that. Yes, I know she's going through a rough patch right now. She thought China was going to work, and now she's back, and Sis just found out, she can't get her apartment back. So she's low-key homeless, and she ain't got nowhere to go.
I have a question.
Sure.
I know me personally, I know when things go wrong, I always try to reach out for help. So when developing Tasha's character, what traits did you instill in her for her not to automatically go to her family, or just not go automatically to Daniel?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with pride. Tasha has known that she's made a lot of mistakes. So at this point in time, she's already feeling it, so she doesn't want to hear it from other people.
Okay.
So I think a lot of it is pride, and a lot of it is just...
And her family has never been the type of family that she could go to for any sort of advice or help. So she's not going to turn to her family. And of course she wants to turn to Daniel, but Daniel is going through his own things, as we've seen throughout this series. And even more so now in the premiere, we see that Daniel's going through a lot too. So she's kind of like in a crossroads, and she's calling Roger, which is like major, because we thought of that 20 minutes before it happened. Production happens sometimes. But like, it was brilliant, I think, for her to kind of like call Roger as her last resort, because it wasn't something she wanted to do.
Let me try to process this. After everything I've done for this company, all of the long days, sleepless nights, sacrifices, client wins, and much more, this is what I get in return? You can't even afford me the opportunity to say my side of the story?
So we've been waiting all this time to figure out what happens with Daniel. He's been waiting like 3 months, and we find out that they have a new boss.
Yeah.
And she's letting him go without knowing anything about Daniel. How did you feel reading that in the premiere?
Reading that, okay, I had two different. Reading that, it was like, oh my God, my sis can't catch a break. We just got the job, a savings account was built. But being in it, I was, as we were going through the scene, and as soon as you guys called to action, I became upset. Like, it was just, and he says it too, like, he worked so hard, and for another black man to tear him down was just heartbreaking.
And it's funny, because when we were developing that storyline, it's crazy because that was the season 2 storyline that we did in 2017. And it happened when we wrote it about 3 months after the Me Too movement became a thing. So it was like, wait a minute. We just like, it was crazy. So, I mean, definitely when I was writing the premiere, I came from a space of, we can either tolerate this and keep Daniel here, or we can put our foot down and say, this is not going to be tolerated, which is a stand I wanted to take as a writer and as a showrunner, as a creator, where Tammy's like, things are different now. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of you, because what you did, we don't tolerate. So like, that's where that kind of came from. And you actually did a great job doing that, because I did feel your anger. And, Lewis is kind of a funny person. So like, watching that scene back, it was like, I saw something from him too. So y'all played off really well. So that was really something we really wanted to explore. And that too, seeing Daniel get back up, because this is not the first time he's been knocked down. And I think as the series progresses, we'll see a lot more growth from him. I just think this is something he needed to propel him and get him back on track for what's next.
My poor sis, he always falls like that.
Upon your acceptance of the role, we'd like you to be our new marketing manager permanently.
So when we last left Benjamin, he was kind of taking over your position. Regina offers him the position, and now this new boss wants him to full-time assume your position with all these extra added benefits. And I feel like it's a good look to come in on Benjamin with, because he had such a rough season last year. So
as a fan, I'm over it. But in my character, Daniel, I'm still over it, but I'm like, go boo, even though he don't want me right now.
Yeah. Because we were rooting for him for a while.
Yeah, we're rooting
and, you know,
him.
even from the first scene we see him in at the workplace, Benjamin's always been at the bottom. And it was kind of nice to see him kind of work his way up naturally. Yeah. Like, he didn't do anything to get a position. He didn't do something he wasn't supposed to do. Like, sis started off as a temp, an admin assistant, went up, you know. And now it was natural for us to say, I think we should offer Benjamin this position. One, because we didn't want to bring in somebody else for that. But because we felt like naturally Benjamin would fit right into this, because this is something he wanted to do. And it just so happened this was a position you had, which was even more of a game for us to explore. And that kind of plays on the tension that'll come in the future between the two of you. So we'll see.
Now, are you going to continue to talk? Or are you going to satisfy my needs?
Damn, woman.
Oh, damn you, Rufus. Give me what I want.
So, Juanita has been ducking and dodging Daniel all episode, and we finally figure out why. How did you feel seeing your mama on screen?
I was hurt. But I'm like, yes, get it in. But like, no, your son needs you. But it's also great that she has her own story. She has her own
which I was
problem.
threatened about before the season started.
And just to see her navigate through that, because after you have kids and they're not gone, but like you're living your own lives, you have to assume your own life. So it's great to see her navigate through
and
that.
it was extremely important for us to discuss and explore Juanita in the grander scale outside of Daniel. I think as the series progressed, we've always wanted to explore our characters on the show, and she's been a favorite. And I wanted to show, I know personally in discussing with Thomas in the writer's room, we really wanted to show this different side of her. Yes, this man is in her life and we don't know what kind of purpose he serves yet, but it's nice to see Juanita smile and not her
be
usual
all up
throwing
in
shade.
everybody's business. Like, you have
Exactly.
a life, like, live it.
Right.
So I thought it was great to see that as well, that she has a life outside of Daniel and outside of being a mother, and hopefully in this season we get to see her stepping back into that womanhood.
She could shoot me a text.
And it was nice, because another thing, even going with Jeremiah, we see that was another storyline that we were very passionate about, exploring life after incarceration.
Yes.
And
I love that.
I think it's a beautiful journey that Jeremiah plays, in the sense that he just got out. What does he do next?
Exactly.
And sometimes that next step is extremely hard, because you literally lose your citizenship as you know when you get out of jail, there's not a lot of things you can do. And for him, he's in a hard place trying to find somewhere to land. And I feel like Daniel is like fed up with him. Like, this is over. You've done this before, so this is going to become something that's per usual for him. So that was another thing we wanted to explore, and that's going to be a beautiful storyline coming forward.
Thank you. I'm sorry for being disrespectful.
No worries. Just don't let it happen again.
Be careful what you say, 'cause you don't know.
Thank you for watching Behind the Love. Tune in next week where we discuss episode 302. Have a great night.